Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my massive ATAR Q&A where I'm going to answer all of the questions that you guys asked me over on my Instagram at tia.chitty, and these questions are all to do with year 11 and 12 ATAR, so whether you do WACE or HSC or VCE, whatever state in Australia you live in, if you're doing year 11 and 12 ATAR, these questions should definitely be able to help you. Okay, sorry about the change of location. I was filming outside, but then my neighbour is just like, I don't know what they're doing, if they're like leaf blowing or vacuuming. They're doing something like really loud, and so I've had to move inside. And hi Noelle, if you're watching, I'm using your room because you can literally maybe they're drying their hair or something, I don't know, you can still hear it in my room. So I've just, anyway, moved location. Okay, so just a super brief bit of background information about me, because otherwise I will get questions about this in the comments. I graduated from year 12 last year in 2019 with an ATAR of 99.5, and this year in September I will be attending Yale University in the US. And I don't know what I'm studying yet, because in the US you don't have to decide what you're studying until a lot later than you do in Australia. So that is me, and now I'm going to get onto your questions. So I asked over on my Instagram for any questions about year 11 and 12 ATAR, and now I am just going to answer them all. So I'm just scrolling down to the bottom, and we're going to go from the bottom right the way up to the top, answering every single one of your questions. Okay, so first question. How are year 11 and year 12 different in terms of workload? Which did you find easier? Okay, so personally I found year 11 and year 12 about the same in terms of workload, but for me what differentiated them and made year 12 a bit harder was the fact that you had to apply to universities in year 12. So you had a lot more academic stuff to think about and do in year 12, because you've also got to think about what you want to study at university and where you want to apply for university. And this was more extreme in my case because I was applying overseas, like to US universities, and also I was applying interstate. I applied in Queensland, the ACT, Victoria, and in Western Australia, and then in America as well. So I applied to heaps of different places. So that made the university application process a bit harder for me, but that's why I found year 12 harder, because I was trying to juggle that, and I also had no idea what I wanted to study. I still don't know. So that made it harder because I was trying to like decide what I wanted to apply for, and so that's the side of year 12 that I found harder, and that's what I think makes year 12 harder and a bit more stressful, and also the fact that everything you're doing counts towards your ATAR. But in terms of actual workload, I thought year 11 and year 12 were pretty much the same, although I did do 6 ATAR subjects in year 11, and then I dropped an ATAR subject for year 12, and I just did 5 in year 12. And that's a question that lots of you guys have asked me as well, about would I recommend dropping a subject, how many do I think you should do in year 12, so I'll answer that when I get to those questions. But yeah, basically in terms of workload, about the same. How/what did you use to take your class notes? Okay, so for notes in class, I just had like a notebook for each subject, and I just like jotted my notes down, and then when I came home I would like get out blank loose leaf paper and write out really nice versions of notes, and I would add in bits of information from the textbook and like make sure I was referring my notes back to the syllabus. But in class, when I was just listening to the teacher and jotting down like notes on what the teacher was saying, I just had a notebook for each subject and I just jotted down the notes. I didn't worry about making it neat, but my writing is like pretty neat anyway, so they were kind of neat, but I didn't like worry about it. But yeah, I just used a pretty basic notebook for each class, and then I rewrote them at home. Did you deal with any self-confidence issues in terms of your schooling? Oh, that's an interesting question. I think not really. I've always been pretty confident in myself. I've always had quite a lot of self-confidence, I think. But the one place where I did have a little bit of, I don't know if it was self-confidence issues, but I guess it was when, basically, if you don't know my story, I live in WA, but in year 10 my dad moved to Victoria for work, so I went with him to Victoria for that year, and then my parents split up and my dad ended up staying in Victoria, but I came back to Perth, I came back to WA, and did year 11 and 12 in WA. So I guess when I came back from Victoria to Perth, the curriculums are different in the different states, and so I was struggling because I had gaps in my knowledge from when I'd spent that year in Victoria, and I wasn't doing as well at school as I was used to doing before I left and had all those changes. So I guess at the start of year 11 I had some self-confidence issues because I wasn't like doing as well as I normally would be, and it was also just like a lot of changes and a lot of stuff going on in my personal life as well. But yeah, so that's probably the only time I would say. If you did any other ATAR subject, what would it be and why? it would be politics and law. I've always wanted to do politics and law, and I really, really wanted to do that, but I just didn't have enough space in my subjects. If I could go back in time, I would have done politics and law instead of physics. But yeah, that's something that interests me, and if I could do another subject after politics and law, I would do human bio, because that also really interests me. They're quite different things, I know, but I'm interested in both of them. And you know what I really wish is that English was not compulsory, because if English wasn't compulsory, I would have had room to do one of those subjects. And it really irritates me because, I'm not going to rant, but English being compulsory irritates me to no end. What was your favourite memory in school? Oh my goodness, like I can't pick one favourite memory. Okay, well, one thing that jumps to mind, and this is actually weird because I normally hate school camps with an absolute passion. I really dislike school camps, but the one school camp that I did enjoy was year 9, and it was an outdoor ed camp, so we were camping out in the wilderness for like 3 days, no showers, no nothing, and I normally hate camping and I hate not showering, but this camp was just so much fun. I think it's because I had a really, really good camp group and I bonded super well with everyone, and it was my birthday on this camp as well, so it was my birthday on like the last day, and it was just so much fun. I had a really, really good experience. We did like hiking and abseiling and canoeing and mountain biking and rock climbing and all this fun stuff, and it was a lot of fun. So that memory sticks out to me. Most of my favourite memories are probably from like year 7, 8, 9, because that is when I peaked at life in running, in school, in like socialness. Yeah, then it went downhill after that. Hopefully it's going back uphill. Hopefully in college it will go back uphill. Advice for choosing year 11 and 12 subjects. I got so many questions about this. Okay, so basically the stereotypical advice: pick the subjects that you like, pick the subjects that you're interested in. The only thing I would say is make sure if you're, make sure to keep your options open by picking subjects that are likely to be prerequisites for courses that you might want to do at university. But other than that, other than like, for example, if you're interested in doing something sciencey at uni, you probably want to do chemistry because that is a prerequisite for a lot of subjects. Sometimes maths methods might be a prerequisite for stuff as well. Just have a look at like that, so just beware of prerequisites. But other than that, just pick the subjects you like. And this kind of goes hand in hand because normally you like the subjects that you do well in, but I would also recommend picking the subjects that you're good at because like you want to get a good ATAR, but the most important thing is to pick subjects that you like. But yeah, just do a lot of research, have a look at the syllabus, for both year 11 and 12, that is available online. See if you like the topics that you're going to be studying in those subjects, because you might be really, really interested in history, but the topics that you're going to be studying in history aren't the ones that interest you. So you just want to like maybe have a look at the syllabus, talk to people as well, talk to year 11 and 12s. Someone commented on my video the other day asking me to make a video with me and like all of my friends on our experiences in year 11 and 12, so that we get like, so that you guys can see like the experience of people who did like a broad, really, really broad range of subjects. So I will make that video, so hopefully that might help you. But yeah, I'd really recommend talking to people who've just been through year 11 and 12, or who are currently in year 11 and 12, because they probably will have some good advice. I need to start going through like more quickly because there's quite a lot of questions. Okay, does going to a bad school affect your ATAR? I don't know. I'm not sure. I wouldn't think it would affect your ATAR all that much, but possibly a little bit. I really don't know, sorry, but like, just the main thing that you can do, the only thing that you can do is just work your very hardest and do your very best, and that's all you can do. So don't worry about factors that are like outside of your control. How much work do you need to do in year 11 to do well in year 12? I don't know, there's not like a numerical value that I can give you, but what I will say is that in year 11 I would just focus on really understanding what you're learning and making yourself a good set of study notes for each subject that you plan to continue into year 12, because that will make your life a lot easier in year 12 if you have like a good set of study notes from the basics of year 11 that you can look at and even use, because some of the stuff you learn in year 11 and 12 might be the same. And also if you have a really good understanding of your subjects in year 11, that will help you. But don't stress out about year 11. You don't need to like kill yourself in year 11. Kill yourself in year 12. No, I'm joking, don't do that. But like, you know, metaphorically speaking, grind in year 12, but you don't need to grind so much in year 11. Still like work really hard, but just not as hard, because you want to like save the grind for year 12. Methods. Oh, right, I thought she was talking about maths methods, but it's not. Methods for studying for exams and how to plan for them. Okay, so what I would do before exams is I would write like a massive, I would get like a big A3 piece of paper, and I would write a massive to-do list of everything that I wanted to get done for every single subject before the exam, and then I would get another big A3 piece of paper, and I would write out a calendar that shows all of the days up until my very last exam, and then I would put the tasks from the to-do list onto each day of the calendar and like make sure I got everything done well before my exams, and then like I would just follow the calendar. Yeah, that's putting it very simply, but that's basically how I would plan for my exams. And how to study for them, well, go through all of your notes and condense and condense and condense your notes. Actually, I talked about how to study and how I studied to get a 99.5 Atar in my last video, so I will link that up here. Go check that out, because that was all about how I studied and exactly like all of my study methods. So actually, yeah, just go check that out, because I talked about how I studied for exams in that video. The next question is how to study for exams. Definitely go check out my previous video, because my previous video was all about how to study both for tests during the year and then for exams at the end of the year. But if that doesn't answer all of your questions, I'm happy to make like another video on that. Like, I'm happy to make another video like purely dedicated to just exam study. But yeah, I'd recommend going to watch that video, because it should help you out. What is your advice to save our final marks if we did badly in the first few assignments? Just study really hard. Like, go watch my previous video on how to study, because that will help you out on study techniques that I would use if you are in any situation, whether you're currently doing good or currently doing bad. Put the past behind you and just focus on what you can do, and that is studying really, really, really hard for the final tests, assignments, and exams that you have. So yeah, go check out my video on how to study, and you've got to grind, you've got to work really hard to make up for maybe not working so hard at the start of the year. Did you prefer year 11 or year 12? I preferred year 12. This is partly due to like personal things going on in my life. I was in a much better place mentally in year 12, but I also really enjoyed, like, it's fun to be at the top of the school and to be kind of involved in leadership decisions and things like that. And you get lots of fun things like your year 12 ball, and then you get your graduation, and you're like looking forward to the next chapter of your life. You're applying to university, things like that are happening. It's exciting. Yeah, I much preferred year 12 to year 11. And also you get your leavers, jumpers, and you have like a really, really, really good connection with your teachers in year 12. Classes are so much more fun. I loved year 12 a lot more than year 11. Yeah. How did you decide on what subjects you wanted to do? I really gave literally no consideration to what subjects I wanted to do, really. Like, not no consideration, but I don't know. I kind of just, I was always, for like the whole of high school, I was always really, really, really good at maths. Like in year 9, I got 99% in my end of year maths exam. So I don't know, I always just thought, oh, I'll do maths methods and maths specialist, because I've just always been good at maths. So those were just two that, I don't know. I shouldn't have done, I'll talk about spec. Someone has asked me about spec in a couple of questions, so I will talk about maths specialist when I get to those questions. But yeah, I just chose the two maths for that reason. You have to do English, so I just chose English. I took chemistry because it was a prerequisite for a lot of things, and I thought that I enjoyed it, which I did. I did enjoy it. But when I was choosing my subjects, I didn't really know what the difference was between chemistry, physics, and biology. But yeah, so I chose chemistry. I chose economics because my mum's an economist, and I had never done economics before at school, but mum said that I would enjoy it, and she was right. It was my top subject, and it was my favorite subject all the way through year 11 and 12. So that's why I chose economics. And then physics I chose because I don't know, I hated physics. I I really don't know why I chose it, but I don't know. That's how I decided. I don't recommend that. I recommend like doing a little bit more research, but yeah. Okay, do you need math specialist for uni? I think only if you're doing engineering. Just look at the courses that you're interested in for uni. Obviously, for most courses, you're not going to need math specialist, but for a couple of courses, you do, I think. But yeah, just go check online about that. How to manage exercising and studying for exams. People always ask me how I balanced my running and my studying, and I'm like, I don't know, I just did. Basically, I just went to running training every single day, and I just fit my studying around that. Like, I couldn't imagine not going to running training, because at this point in my life, like, running is just like, it's just like brushing my teeth. It's not like something that I think about doing. It's something that I just do, and everything else has to fit in around that. And my whole life, I have fit in my schoolwork around running, so it didn't really change in year 11 and 12. I just did the same thing. I actually personally, I didn't need to study heaps and heaps during year 11 and 12. I wasn't like just studying all the time. But I would say just be really, really organized and plan out your week every single week on a Sunday night as precisely as possible to the minute, just to maximize all of the time that you have. But there's definitely plenty of time for exercise as well as study, and exercising helps your studying. Like, it is scientifically proven that exercising will help you study better. So yeah. How much did you actually study in year 12? Like a day or a week? Oh, I get asked this question so much. How many hours a day did I study? Like, it varied a lot, but honestly, I didn't study all that much. Like, I studied, obviously, but I didn't study heaps and heaps and heaps. So on a school day, I would study anywhere between like 0 and 3 hours, probably. And then on the weekends, it would be more like 3 to 6 hours. But it would vary a lot throughout the year, and it's like, it's quality over quantity, and it also just depends on how much, like what subjects you're doing, how much work you have for each subject, what tests, exams, assignments you've got going on, how fast of a worker you are. Like, it just completely depends. So I don't know about that amount, but like, I also never counted how many hours of study I did, because I don't think there's any point counting the number of hours of study you do, because it's quality over quantity. So yeah. Tips for methods. Okay, so my advice for any math subject is practice, 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 practice. Do all of the practice questions that you can find, do all of the past papers that you can find, do all of the practice tests, practice exams, everything. Like, do as many practice questions as you can. I know that's probably like not the advice you want to hear, because practice questions are kind of boring and they suck, but for maths, like, the best thing you can do is just practice, 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 practice. How weighted are the external exams? Okay, so the external WACE exams, the statewide exams at the end of the year, they are worth 50% of your ATAR, and then the other 50% comes from all of the work that you've done throughout year 12. So yeah, they're weighted quite heavily. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I have so many more questions to get through. Okay, I need to speed up. How to actually study and learn lots of content at once. Grind. You just have to grind it out. Look, cover, right, check. Look, cover, right, check. Yeah, just all of the different memorization techniques. But there's no like fast way to learn content. You just have to really grind it out, and like, yeah, look, cover, right, check is the one that I always use. But for more study tips, I would go check out my previous video on how I studied. So yeah, go check that one out. What does an average day look like when you're in year 11/12? How long did you study a day? Okay, so an average day for me, I would wake up at about 6:30 a.m, then I would get ready for school, and then I would leave for school at about 7 or 7:15 or even 7:30 some mornings. It just depended. Like, I only take half an hour to get ready, so if I woke up at 6:30, I would leave for school at 7. If I woke up at 7, I would leave at 7:30. On Tuesday and Thursday mornings, I would have physio in the morning, so I would wake up at 6 a.m. and physio would start at 6:30. Then physio would go from 6:30 till 7:30 a.m. Then I would drive straight to school and get to school about 8 a.m. and then I would study at school from 8 a.m. until like 8:45 a.m. when school started. But if I didn't have physio in the morning, if it was a Monday, Wednesday or Friday, I would just get to school at around 7:30 or 8 a.m. and I would just study in the morning until school started. So that's what I do most mornings. Then I would have my school day. Then after school I would drive straight to running training, and I would get to running training and it starts at 4:30 p.m. and then I would do running training from like 4:30 until 6. Then I would drive home and get home at about 6:30 p.m, unpack my bags, have a shower, eat dinner, and then start studying at around like 7:15 or 7:30 p.m. And then I'd keep studying until around 9:30 p.m. and then I'd get ready for bed and go to bed at 10 p.m. and do it all again the next day. Something I really prioritized was sleep. I think sleep is really, really important, so I would always make sure to stop studying around 9:30 or 10 and make sure I was in bed every night before 10:30. Yeah. And I've already answered how long I studied a day. When do you start revising for exams? And the very next question is, when did you start studying for end of year exams? Okay, so for school exams, I would start studying as soon as possible because like normally I would only have like a week before the exams to study because we had so many tests up until that point that I couldn't start studying for exams until the week before. So for school exams, I would study like about a week before, but as much as possible. For end of year exams, I think I started studying again as soon as possible after my mocks had finished. So like I think it was like 4 to 6 weeks before my end of year exams started. Any regrets from year 12? Not applying to universities earlier. I left all my university application processes to the last minute and was so stressful. So that is my biggest regret. Any regrets from VCE, for example, subject choices or study mistakes? Okay, I didn't do VCE because that's Victorian. I live in WA, so I did WACE or WACE. But same thing. Any regrets? Again, not applying to universities earlier. For example, subject choices or study mistakes. Oh yeah, subject choices. I regret choosing physics as well. How do you save time when studying and not waste time doing unnecessary tasks? Okay, so when I'm studying, I must be like purely focused on what I am studying. So if any other tasks, if any other like unnecessary tasks pop into my head, I have a little notepad or a sticky note next to me and I will jot that task down on the sticky note and then I'll do it after I've finished my study session. So that could be like emailing someone, it could be, I don't know, whatever pops into your head, just write it down and deal with it after you've finished studying. That was the technique that worked for me. What are your honest tips for picking ATAR subjects and how many? Okay, so I've already talked about the first part of your question, but the second part is how many. I would say in year 12, I think that you should do 5. So 4 of your ATAR subjects count. I think it's a good idea to do 5 because then you have a backup one and that definitely gives you peace of mind. But I don't recommend doing 6 because there's no point doing 6. The only reason I would say do 6 is if there's 6 subjects that you really, really love and you really want to learn about all of them, then definitely do 6 because like you're really interested in them. I don't want to stop you from learning if you want to learn, but I don't think there's any point doing 6 if that's not really the case, and it wasn't the case for me. And if you do 6 subjects instead of 5 in year 12, you're going to have like all of the extra classes for that subject a week instead of having private study like I had. Like I had private study to study for my 5 subjects instead of doing an extra subject. So you're not going to get that private study. You're going to get homework and tests and assignments for that extra subject that you're going to have to spend time on that is taking time away from your other subjects. So I just think it's a bit of a waste of time and it's an unnecessary stress. But I don't want to stop you from doing 6 subjects if you're just really interested in them and you want to do them. But if you kind of want to do 5 subjects but you're not sure if that's like narrowing your like chances because like you have to use 4 of them and then you only have 1 spare, I think it's fine to do that because you're gonna be able to spend more time studying those 5. So like, and it's very unlikely that you're going to completely bomb out in 2 WACE exams. Like, yeah, so I would recommend doing 5 subjects, 5 ATAR subjects in year 12, but of course, like, it's up to you. Ways to keep chem equations in your head. Okay, so look, cover, write, check, look, cover, write, check. Keep writing it out over and over and over again. And also, make sure you understand what's going on in the chem equation. So make sure you understand like what is happening on the reactant side and what is happening on the product side and why that's happening. And oh, okay, so that makes sense that a gas is produced, because if you kind of like understand what's happening with the equation and it makes logical sense to you, then that should help with your memorization as well. But yeah, just like write it out heaps of times. I graduated last year, but for year 11, 12s, advice for spec. Was it very different to methods? Yes, it was very different to methods. Okay, so with methods, year 11 is a big step up from year 10 but then year 12 is like a little step up from year 11. So methods will seem hard in year 11, but it won't seem very much harder in year 12. Whereas spec seems easier in year 11, but then in year 12 it gets astronomically difficult. Now this could have just been my experience, like I could have just been like not good at it or something, but I found spec so hard in year 12. I found it fine in year 11, but then in year 12 I absolutely died and I really didn't understand what was going on. So yes, it is very different to methods. It's definitely doable, and I know that some people did enjoy it, but few people enjoyed it. Like yeah, if I went back in time, I wouldn't do spec personally, but like some people are really, really good at maths and really enjoy that kind of stuff. It's definitely more kind of physicsy maths. So if you enjoy kind of physics math, it's got like vectors and like, I don't know, lots of stuff that I just couldn't like conceptualize. So my advice for spec is good luck. Like, definitely don't let me deter you from doing it, but all I'm saying is that it does get hard in year 12. My advice is to do lots of practice questions and really like go and see a teacher a lot of times and try and like really understand what's going on. And yeah, my advice on whether you should or shouldn't do spec is literally, it's up to you. I can't give you guys advice on subjects because it depends totally on the type of person that you are. So yeah, I can't say whether you should or shouldn't do it, but yeah, that's my experience. And there are a couple more spec questions coming up, because lots of people asked me about spec. Spec is mathematics specialist, by the way. Did you ever score any 100%? Also, proudest achievement during WACE? Okay, yes, I did score some 100%. I got 100% in methods, I think, a couple of times. I got 100% in a spec test in year 11, and I think I got 100% in economics as well, once or twice. Maybe in chemistry as well. Oh, and I got 100% in English one time. I got 100% in all my subjects except physics. Don't think I ever got 100% in physics. But I got 100% in an English oral, I think, one time, which is kind of unheard of because it's hard to be perfect in an oral. But I always enjoyed orals. And I also got 100% in an English story one time. All of this was in year 11. Like, my 100% in English were all in year 11. I did not good in English in year 12. But year 11, I did good in English. I actually was the top student at my school, which was quite good because my school is like really, really, really good at academics. Anyway, I got 100% in an English story and English oral. Both of them were in year 11. I got 100% in a spec test in year 11. I got 100% in like an economics thing, I think in year 11 and year 12. And I got 100% in methods, I think, in year 12. Yeah, I did get 100% in methods in year 12. I think I might have in year 11 as well. So yeah, I got some 100%, but like not frequently. Definitely not frequently. And my proudest achievement during WACE, I don't know. Gosh, I can't think of an achievement that I was particularly proud of. I think probably like my ATAR that I ended up with and the university that I'm going to. I'm pretty proud of those things, but those are kind of the end result of everything. So I don't know, during WACE, I'm not sure. I don't think I did anything that I was that proud of. How many subjects are you able to study? Also, I love your channel. Thank you. Yeah, so you're able to study, so basically 4 subjects count towards your ATAR and you can study 4, 5 or 6. And if you study 5, you're gonna have a spare one. If you study 6, you're gonna have 2 spare ones. How to not lose motivation. Okay, I'm going to film a whole video on motivation soon because I have received so many questions about motivation, both in school and in running. But I would say, like, don't kill yourself at the start of year 12. Try not to burn out. Like, build into it, but like get a good start, but don't like die at the end of year 12. No, the start of year 12. Don't die at the start of year 12. Like, save that. Like, yeah, just don't go out too hard, but go out reasonably hard, but like don't burn yourself out. That made no sense. What to do when it seems like no matter how hard you try, you aren't getting better? Oh, that kind of sucks. I know that feeling. It is really hard, but just know that like all of the work you're putting in, all of the work and effort that you're putting in, like you will reap the benefits of that. You will get better. It might be showing now, but if you're studying really hard and doing your very best, like you will improve. You will. That effort will count, but also go and speak to your teachers about it. See if there's anything that maybe you could be doing differently. Like maybe you're, oh no, Sorry, my camera ran out of storage, but we are all good now. Yeah, so maybe like talk to your teachers, because maybe you're putting in a lot of effort, but you're putting a lot of effort like into the wrong things, and there's things that you could be doing instead that would help you be like more efficient and help you more. So yeah, chat to your teachers, but if you are like putting in a lot of effort, it will pay off in the future. So yeah. Tips to stay calm during the year, particularly when SACs are all bunched up together. Okay, so we don't have SACs in WA, but I'm assuming they're just like tests. Just like plan and be super organized, because I find like I get really stressed when I'm not organized and I'm not sure what I need to do and I'm not sure when things are on. So just plan and be super organized, and try and study as much as you can, but don't worry too much, because each individual SAC is not going to count. It's going to count like a very tiny percentage towards your ATAR, so don't worry too much. How many do you recommend either starting with or doing in year 12? Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking about subjects. I would recommend 5, but it does depend on the person. I can't really give you guys recommendations because I don't know you, but 5, I would say. How do I start a business? That is not a question that is related to this topic, so I'm going to skip it. And also, I don't know, because I don't have a business. Is biology a bad choice, and is it that different to human bio? Also, which is worse, politics and law or bio? Okay, there's lots of questions in that. Is biology a bad choice? No, biology is a good choice. If you like biology, do biology. Is it that different to human bio? I don't know, because I didn't do either human bio or bio, like I didn't do either of them, but I'm guessing some aspects of them would be similar, but bio would just have like, as well as humans, it would also be focusing on plants and stuff, I'm guessing, and like other animals, maybe. Whereas human bio is just on humans, so it depends what aspects of biology you like. Also, which is worse, politics and law or bio? Which is worse? I don't know. Again, I didn't do either of them, and it's just going to completely depend on you as a person. Neither of them is particularly worse. One will be worse for some people and one will be worse for other people. Personally, I would do politics and law over bio, but that's because I just prefer it. Like, other people would do bio over politics and law because they prefer it. So which one do you prefer? Do that one. How early should you start studying for exams? Again, I've kind of answered this question before, but basically you don't have that much time in year 12, so as early as you can, I would say. Starting to study early can't really hurt, so I would just, yeah, start studying as early as you can. Would you recommend ATAR maths specialist? Again, I can't really recommend or not recommend subjects to you guys because I don't know, it's so individual. Personally, like I said, if I went back, I probably wouldn't do maths specialist. But then again, like, it wasn't too bad. Actually, I mean, it kind of was. But like, it just depends. It depends. Yeah, if you kind of like physicsy maths and like vectors and stuff like that, then you'll probably like spec. But there's like, that's not the only topic. There's other topics as well. I don't know. I don't know. Did you enjoy maths spec? Not really. In year 11, it was alright. In year 12, I really didn't enjoy it because I just felt like I was floundering, like I had no idea what was going on. That's probably my fault. I know that other people did not have that same experience, and some other people did have that experience. Personally, not really. What was your predicted ATAR? So I never really like got told my predicted ATAR, and I wasn't really one of those people who would like, I know there's this website that you can like put in all your scores for each subject and it will tell you like what your current predicted ATAR is, and they would like, there'd be some people who would put in their test marks after every single subject and their ATAR would like change by like the tiniest bit, and they'll be like, oh, this is my predicted ATAR. I never really knew what my predicted ATAR was. All I remember is that one time very early in the year, in term 1 of year 12, I was talking to my careers counsellor, and I think she mentioned that she'd calculated my predicted ATAR at that stage, like halfway through term 1 of year 12, and it was like 99.3, or maybe, no, was it 99.4? Around that mark. I think it might have been like 99.3 or 99.35 or 99.4, something like that. So it was around there. What ATAR did you think you would get, and what ATAR did you want to get? Okay, so I wanted to get an ATAR above 99. I just always, like literally since I started high school, I wanted to get above 99. realistically I thought I would get anywhere between like 99 and 99.5. So I was kind of like at the higher end of my expectation. But yeah, I wanted to get above 99 and I wanted to get like well above 99. So I wanted to get like pretty much above 99.2. Like I didn't want to like just scrape above 99. Not that that's bad at all. Like obviously anything above or even close to 99 is absolutely brilliant. But personally I just wanted to like be well above 99. So yeah, 99.5 was kind of at the higher end of my expectation, but I really had no idea. I didn't really think about it all that much. I just focused on doing the best that I could throughout the year, and I knew that that would result in me getting the best ATAR that I could at the end of the year. I'm in year 9 and I'm starting to choose subjects. Help me. P.S. I miss you heaps. Oh, I miss you too. I was just looking at who commented that. I miss you too. Yeah, I miss all of you girls. I've kind of already given advice in this video about subjects, but really just choose the ones that you enjoy and also make sure you're like relatively good at them. But yeah, if you enjoy them, that will probably mean you'll work hard at them, which will probably mean that you're good at them, which will mean that you'll enjoy them. So it's kind of like a circle like that. So normally like subjects that you're good at are subjects that you enjoy, so choose those ones. But yeah, just beware of prerequisites. So if you're in year 9 and you're choosing subjects for year 10, beware of what subjects in year 10 are prerequisites for year 11 and 12 subjects. So for example, if you want to do a language in year 11 and 12, you probably have to do it in year 10. If you want to do, I don't know, art, I don't know if that's that's not probably not a prerequisite. I don't know, but just like beware of that. But yeah, do subjects you like. Such typical advice. Okay, last question, everybody. Woohoo! How did you cope with the amount of stress put into ATAR? I honestly was never really too stressed about it. This is not going to help you, but personally, like, I was pretty confident that my ATAR was going to be high enough to get me wherever I needed to go, so I didn't really stress too much about trying to get a certain ATAR or trying to like get a high ATAR or whatever. I didn't really stress too much about that. But all of the stress that you're feeling, like, you are kind of putting on yourself. Like, other people might be putting stress onto you, but that stress like only actually comes onto you and can be felt by you if you let it be felt. Like, if other people are putting pressure on you, don't feel that pressure. Don't, like, let yourself feel that pressure. Personally, nobody else was really putting pressure onto me. It was only, like, pressure that I had on myself. And so I guess the way that I dealt with that was I kept going with my running. You know, like, I kept something up outside of school that had absolutely nothing to do with school. And I remember when I would go to running training during year 11 and 12, it would feel so good because for those, like, 2 hours of running training, I would completely forget about school. Like, I just wouldn't even have to think about it, and it just felt really, really good because that meant that I wasn't like focusing and being obsessed by school and ATAR all day long. So I think it's really important to have something outside of your studies that you can focus on, and also try to stay organized, because like I said, I found that when I was unorganized, I got stressed because I was stressed about not being organized and not knowing what I had to do and not knowing what I had on. So if you're really organized, that helps. And also like planning out your week. Do that on a Sunday night, plan out your week to the minute, and try and stick to that as best you can. But yeah, make sure you're just getting out of your work and not focusing on it all day long. And at the end of the day, you have to realize that year 12 ATAR is one really, really, really small part of your life. Yes, it might make things slightly easier for you if you do get the ATAR you need or the ATAR you want to get into wherever you want to go next in life. But there is always, always, always a way to get where you want to be. There is always a way. So if you don't get the ATAR to get into a course that you want to get into, then you will find another way. If you really want to be there, you will find another way to get there. So it's not the be all and end all. It's a really small part of your life. And once you graduate from year 12, like, no, has anyone asked me what my ATAR is since I've graduated? No, and you will hear this all the time. Like, you would have heard people say this before. Once you leave school, no one cares what ATAR you get. And it's really true. Once you leave school, you realize that school is like a really small microcosm of the world. And it's a pretty unrealistic, depending on what school you go to, it's a pretty unrealistic representation of what the real world is actually like. For example, my school was a single-sex, all-girls school. Is that the case in the real world? No, 50% of the world is made up of men. So like, that in itself is like such a not true representation of the real world. And I don't know, it's just like, once you leave school, you realize that it's such a small part of your life and it really wasn't worth that much stress. But in saying that, do try your very best. And if you try your very, very best, then you couldn't have done anything else So yeah, okay, I kind of strayed from the question there, but hopefully something that I said helped you. Okay, so this video is going to be an absolute nightmare to edit. In my last Q&A, I like screenshotted all of the questions and put them on the screen, but I didn't do that in this video because it took so long because I had to screenshot them, but there's like 8 questions to a page, so then I would have to crop it to each individual question, and it took so long, so I'm not going to do that in this video, sorry, but it's already over, so whatever. I'm really tired of talking now, and you're probably tired of hearing me talk, so I'm gonna go. Thank you so much to everyone who asked questions. That was a lot of questions. I hope you found this video useful. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for lots more videos like this. Go check out some of my previous videos. I've made like ATAR reactions, and I have so many study and note-taking and ATAR and year 11 and 12 advice tips videos on my channel. So like there's literally like over 100 study videos on my channel. So go check all of them out, and go check out some of my running videos as well. Go check out some of my uni videos. I've got videos on how to apply to university in Australia and in the US, and like I just have so many videos on my channel. So go check them all out, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and comment down below if you have any more questions. If you have any more questions, oh my goodness, more questions. Yeah, okay, you can probably tell I'm ready to stop filming, so I'm gonna stop filming now. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to this point in the video, oh my goodness, wow. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment this emoji down below so that I know that you guys got to this point in the video. But yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you all being here. Subscribe to my channel so you can be here again in the next video, and I will see you whenever that is uploaded, which could be tomorrow, could be the next day. I don't know. I had an upload schedule, but now I don't. So I can't seem to stick to an upload schedule at the moment. I think it's because I don't have, I'm not at university or school, so I don't really have structure to my weeks. My days like really change a lot. But when I get a bit more organized, I will have an upload schedule. But I'm uploading like 3 to 4 times a week. So just stay tuned, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! Oh my gosh, that was really tiring. Oh, I should probably stop the camera. Lol, I was just scrolling through Instagram. Yeah, oh, go follow me on Instagram at tia.chitty. At tia.chitty. If you're not already following me. Did I already plug that? Probably, but why not plug it again? Because I have less Instagram followers than I do subscribers on YouTube, so that means some of you guys are not following me on Instagram, so go follow me. Yeah. Also, we hit 2,500 subscribers, 2.5k. Thank you guys. Oh, my camera's dying. Okay, bye.